What's up, everybody? Happy opening day. Thank you for coming over to the DFS 5-pack. We are here to talk baseball. It's opening day, so I know that's a big day for you. Before we get into actual picks and stuff like that, this is going to be like a members-only type video for the main slate for today. It's the only one that we're going to put out for this one. We did kind of like a feeler video a couple of days ago. And we'll do a few more members-only type of videos early on in the MLB season for everybody to see what it is that we're all about. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Feel free to click the thumbs up button. And then very importantly, we've been doing some back-end website work for the last couple of days. So if you purchased like a lifetime subscription, like a long time ago, and you've lost your access to the website, please just reach out to me and I will get you going right away. It's not a very long process, but there are people who have been like customers for 5 years, for example, that maybe your email got lost in translation. So reach out to me. I remember a lot of you guys, and we can kind of go from right there, get you guys up and working. And if you buy a subscription today, and it doesn't work right away, I will get you going right away as well too. So just let me know. There's some back end issues going on and we're fixing them, and we've been doing a lot of work the last couple of days, but I just want to put that out there so everybody understands.
For sure, man. I know that that's draining as hell, so appreciate you taking care of all that stuff. And on a lighter note, I'll tell you, you often talk about like that giddy feeling you get, before NBA starts, before NFL. Like I have it. I had it last night. I have it. I don't get it that much, but I have it right now.
Opening day of baseball season, I understand that. Like that Sunday morning opening day of NFL where you wake up and I'm just like, oh boy, it's coming. Yeah. I know that feeling. I don't get it quite as much for baseball, but baseball is always my first love, so I completely understand.
For sure. The difference with football is it's like crack. There's so few of them. There's only 16 weeks. Baseball I love, but it's such more of a grind every day. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it. So we did this feelers video earlier in the week, but I think we got a little more information to work off of right now. Projected ownership percentages and things like that. Early in the season, guys, not that you shouldn't do this every day. Make sure you double check your weather. I use Kevin Roth. He's got a piece up at Roto Grinders every single day. You can follow him on Twitter. There's plenty of other meteorologists out there within the DFS community. Check it out. Like we both like Kyle Hendricks, but when you read the weather at Chicago, the only thing it can do is one, make sure the game plays because it's so cold, but two, make you like the pitchers even more.
Amen.
Also, I don't know, look at the San Diego-Arizona game. It's the only game with really nice weather. If you were on the fence on spending up on Yu Darvish, it's a reason that this is going to be hitter friendly. Maybe you make a pause in the situation. If you love Yu Darvish, you can still play him. I'm just saying, if you got a 50-50 call and you run one lineup, maybe it pushes you more San Diego offense and less on Yu Darvish.
For sure, no doubt about that. And I think the first point you made, check your weather every day, but at the beginning of the season, it's imperative. You have to check it before you even look into the slate. I know that a game that I liked a lot is already off the schedule, so it's just what it is.
What is that?
Boston, Baltimore.
Oh, you're just not going to look at it because of the weather?
No, didn't it? I think it got postponed 20 minutes ago.
Okay, I've been working on website issues since I got up, so I didn't look to see it's off.
It got postponed. The only reason I was confused is because you didn't know it. But since you haven't looked, I'm confident it's gotten postponed.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we won't be looking at that one. Is it for cold, I'm assuming? Or snow?
It's due to rain. I heard that game might be Orioles-Red Sox postponed Thursday due to rain 32 minutes ago.
Got it. Perfect. All right. Well, first things up, we got Milwaukee versus Minnesota. We talked this one out the other day. Brandon Woodruff is coming in as one of the more popular pitchers on the slate. Not quite as popular as Tyler Glasnow, but he's a guy who's going to get some love. I think he's a very acceptable play in this situation. I'm a Monster Woodruff fan. If I was setting one lineup, I'm not 100% sure I would use him, but he is definitely wildly in play. I don't see any reason the Twins' offense should be better this year. They did lose one of their decent hitters, so they're a good offense, but not somebody I'm scared to pick on if I really like my pitcher.
I agree. There's other guys I like slightly more, but I mean, that's just because I like them slightly more. I think Woodruff is more in play, and kind of like we had to break, the easy way to break this down sometimes is I'm more interested in Woodruff than the Minnesota Bats, but I probably won't get to Woodruff.
So I have my entries reserved already, and I'm probably going to just run a simple 3-entry max today. I'll probably play Woodruff once in a 3-entry max. I know for you, and for those of you guys watching this, you're a big 3-entry max guy as well, and you usually try to do 3 pitchers. Some days, if you love a guy, you'll run them all 3 times. Sometimes you might use 4, but it's usually you'll take 3 pitchers and run each combination once.
Amen. That's exactly what I like to do. But like you said, that's what I like to do. Doesn't mean I do that every single slate. If there was a guy that I wanted to jam in 100%, I'd do just that.
Yeah, I don't 100% know what my Brewers are going to run out for starting lineup today. There might be, like, if for some reason Vogelbach's in the lineup, he's a power guy for under 3K. Not a must or anything like that. And then the same thing kind of applies to like a Lorenzo Cain. He might be 3,200 and batting near the top of the lineup. He may not be in the lineup. I'm not 100% sure yet. There might be a couple of real cheap value pieces. That's about it. And as far as Minnesota goes, we kind of talked them over the other day as well. Not a lot I'm super interested in here, but I wouldn't hate like a Polanco one-off if he's super cheap and a decent hitter.
Same. And I was looking a little bit, and again, who knows, because this changes from spring training. But I was looking at the Brewers lineup from the last few spring training games, and it seems to me like they're going Colton Wong leading off with Hira second, and then Lorenzo Cain like hitting 6th or 7th. Who knows if that's going to last, but that's kind of what I expect today, at least.
It's also what I expect. I think you're right.
Cool.
Okay, so again, to wrap up game 1, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Woodruff is probably like an honorable mention pitcher for us. He's an high upside guy, right? Good K stuff. May not make either of like ideal lineups.
We like Woodruff a lot, and I'll say this, he's only 8K, so he's definitely in play.
He has every opportunity to be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. I mean, that could be said for 7 different guys.
Agree, but he's one of them.
Yep. All right, next up, let's take a look at the Cubs. We got Pittsburgh taking on Chicago. As already mentioned, double check, make sure this game plays because it is cold in Chicago. The wind is blowing in as well. When it is cold with the wind blowing in Chicago, it plays as pitcher-friendly as any ballpark in the association. So this game screams pitcher's duel, especially when it comes to taking a look at the bad Pirates offense and how good Kyle Hendricks is.
Yeah, I don't think I could get to Chad Cool on this slate, but...
No, bro, that's not cool.
Yeah, Hendricks for sure. Like him a lot. If this game plays, he's my favorite pitcher on the slate probably. If it doesn't, he's not. What about your boy Jock Peterson now with Coolback starting for them?
So I'm not going to be as chubbed for Jock Peterson as I was a couple of days ago when I was looking at this one. Cool's had issues against lefties. Peterson's, nice power hitter. Been crushing the ball throughout spring training, only 3,400. Where do you expect him to be batting for the Cubs?
Not sure. It's a good question. I could see him batting a lot of different places, so I'm not even sure.
Like if Jock Peterson's leading off at 3,400, get versus one of the weaker pitchers on the slate, despite the fact the weather's not awesome, I'm still interested, but I'm not as interested as I would be if it was like a neutral climate.
For me, it's like the weather's not good, so I'm not looking to like stack the Cubs here. I'm not looking at them as like the first guys that I want to take a look at. However, like a one-off or two that, like you said, leading off at really cheap, I got no issues with that.
Yeah, and that's about it. So the 2 guys in this game I like, Kyle Hendricks and potentially Jock Peterson. Other than that, if I'm playing Kyle Hendricks, I'm not playing anybody from the terrible Pittsburgh offense in a bad weather game against a pitcher I like.
Same.
I'm not even going to one-off anybody.
From Pittsburgh, no thanks.
All right. Atlanta against Philly. So Atlanta was nice enough to come up with their starting lineup already, although it doesn't matter because I think we literally could have guessed this.
Yeah, this is a classic like stay away game, for my opinion. Like both pitchers are really good, both offenses are really good. There's just better spots.
I agree. So I did a long time fantasy baseball league that I run last night. I got Darno for $1 in my auction draft. I was so happy about that. I know he's just a catcher; he doesn't play every day, but watching like other catchers go for way more, I got Gary Sanchez and Darno for a combined $2, and I thought that was my favorite part of the draft.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, because I want to sell one of them later when everybody realizes their catcher is just that awful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you on this one. This is a complete stay away game. Like Real Muto has nice numbers off Max Fried. Am I going to pay $5,500 for him against good pitching? No, this is what we call a Manny special. I don't want either side.
There are times when good hitters will be in play against good pitchers and vice versa. But like for me on opening day, when you've got like you look at the Atlanta lineup, they're real expensive because they're real good. You look at Nola, he's real expensive because he's real good. Like when you've got an expensive versus an expensive, like why would you even go there?
Yeah, I'm not interested here at all. Aaron Nola is getting some projection love as far as people using him. He's really good. I'm a big Aaron Nola fan. I'm also a really big fan of the Braves offense, so this is not where I'm trying to go.
Same. I'm not sure. I'd probably use Nola over the Braves offense, but it's like very close. I'm not really looking to get to either. Next game, I have interest in from a
Okay.
pitching perspective. We didn't even talk about this on our first video, but something that I know we both like a lot. I don't know why we didn't mention it. I didn't mention it. Maybe you did, and I didn't hear you.
Pitcher's duel. I know where
Yeah,
you're going.
exactly. We love going to pitchers from the same game. Like, not that it's something that we have to do, but while a lot of people around the industry don't like using pitchers from the same game because it negates the win equity, the win is only 4 points. I love that. I think Flaherty brings the best out of Castillo today and vice versa. I'm really digging on the two pitchers here.
All right, as far as Cincinnati goes, for those of you guys who maybe new to baseball, Cincinnati is typically a hitter-friendly park. So I know that is a reason sometimes you don't want to go there. I gotcha. It's cold there today with the wind blowing out, so it's almost like a neutral effect if you're curious about that. Like 40 degrees, that is pitcher weather. Wind's blowing out 15 degrees, okay, or 15 miles an hour. That is advantage hitter, but it's almost like a neutral effect to that one. Also, Castillo, for his career, has always just been better at home.
Yeah. I feel good about Castillo here. Like, I like both these guys. I mean, I think they're both real good plays. I like the fact that they're pitching against each other. If I'm building right now, I think my three guys are these two guys and Hendricks. I also like Glass now. We'll get there, but you can't play everyone. And I like Castillo and Flaherty quite a bit.
So, something we've discussed a lot. For my money, I think ownership percentage in the DFS world is often overblown because you're almost always going to find a way to be unique. What I do like it a lot is for your pitchers. And today, Tyler Glasnow is supposed to be the chalkiest pitcher. Castillo is supposed to be relatively popular as well. So, like for a cash game build, that makes a lot of sense. However, Flaherty, you're not going to get him at 1%, but you might get Flaherty at like 10%. And the idea of being different on pitching, especially within the GPP realm, makes a lot of sense to me because the differences can be huge. Like Glasnow gives up runs. What if he goes for like 6 points today, which is not that crazy, and Flaherty goes for 36? That's a 30-point difference. This is not like in basketball or football where guys don't usually have these monster glare discrepancies.
Yeah, and I know we're both big Flaherty fans. I like him a lot this year. I think he's got massive upside at 8,600. You mentioned Woodruff could be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. Flaherty's definitely in that group.
As is Castillo. Both
Sure.
guys have excellent strikeout stuff.
No doubt.
So I am interested in both pitchers. I'm with you. I'm glad that you brought up that we love to put starting pitchers together because it is something that seems counterintuitive to some people. But the best pitchers in baseball get wins less than like half the time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So like it's really hard to play for the win, even if you've got the best pitcher versus the worst pitcher. Sure, you're more likely to get the win, but with bullpens and it's hard to play for the win.
Yeah, don't play for the win in baseball. I'm not saying that you can't back pocket it, especially if you like a cheaper pitcher that doesn't strike out a lot of guys and you're just trying to get 15 points off of like a 5K pitcher, but it's not something that you should set your sights for.
I agree.
So, and then as far as offensive players in this game, if we like both pitchers so much, why are we trying to pick offensive players?
Agreed.
So, again, a one-off perhaps because the wind, like I said, it's blowing out a little bit. Maybe you could get one up in the air. Okay, fine. I don't think I'm trying to get to anybody on either side. Like Suarez is cheap. Okay, fine.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of the opinion today, if you don't use cores, like you're pretty much different from as far as hitters go.
Yeah, the Dodgers come out as the chalkiest offense on the board, so we'll get there momentarily.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tampa versus Miami. Tampa has starting pitcher Tyler Glasnow. He seems to be coming in as the overwhelming chalk SP1, more popular than all the other pitchers by, I wouldn't say like a monster percentage, but by a decent percent.
For sure. And I'll say this, like Miami, their
offense is better than people think.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like you can't pick on Miami with like a real good pitcher. Like I think Glasnow's in play here. But like everyone looks at Miami, it's similar to Baltimore. They're garbage. It's them trash Marlins. Like this team made the playoffs last year. I remember often people were wanting to pick on them with starters like this, and Miami made them work. I remember, don't really love picking on Miami with expensive pitchers. That's something that was a thing. I'm gonna fall back on that here.
So especially like I'll probably run my 3-entry max for GPPs, and I play more GPP than I do cash games in baseball. I think it's a better sport for GPPs, but I will run one of my 3-entry maxes intertwined with a cash game lineup. And I'll probably use Glass now there. He's a high upside guy. He's very capable of striking out like 14 guys today. And he can do that in, 6 innings because that's what he has. So there is upside to be had right there. But we've done this before. Like Jacob deGrom, like typically has issues with Miami. They are feisty.
We've read this book before. Exactly. Like, it doesn't mean Glasnow's a bad play, but he's far from a lock to get like 30 here. I mean, he's not, first off, he's not that guy yet. Like you mentioned, he's a better DFS pitcher than real life pitcher. He can, he's the guy that can get in his own head and he can start walking guys and get his pitch count real up. Miami's a little better than people think. You mentioned it with the Dodgers pitchers. I mean, he went deep into the season last year. Like, again, he's chalky, so I'm giving reasons not to play him. Clearly he's in play. Check that game log. Yep. But like, I also like Castillo and Flaherty a little more, and they're less owned. So for me, it's easy.
Tampa Bay doesn't usually give a long leash to their starting pitchers. I think there was a World Series game that might have proved that.
It's in the NL, so I doubt they're going to want to see Glasnow hit more than once.
Miami's a very pitcher-friendly park, so that is a pro for him. So I'll probably play him in my cash lineup, and I don't think I'll play him in my other 2 GPPs.
One thing I will say, and you're obviously Miami's one of the better pitching parks, but kind of the same point you mentioned about Darvish. Like, Miami is going to be one of the best weather parks today, going. Doesn't mean it's bad.
Neutral dome climate, right?
Right. Doesn't mean it's bad for Glasnow, but it does not bad for the hitters.
That's a good point. As far as like Tampa Bay offense, I don't think they're going to get a lot of attention.
I think they're very sneaky, but they're not in like an amazing spot on paper.
No, they're also, despite the fact they were in the World Series last year, they're not a great offense.
No, they've got different pieces. I'm interested to see what their lineup looks like. They also pinch hit. Yep. So, Meadows looks real cheap. I'll say that.
What do you expect out of a Rosarina this year? I took him in all of my fantasy leagues just because, like, I'm like the upside for like a 7th-round pick right here is solid. And I became a fan throughout the playoff stretch last year. I don't expect him to be anything like he was during that stretch. But what do you expect from him for the season right here? And if you think he's going to be bad, you can tell me. I won't cry or anything.
No, I don't think he's going to be bad at all. I remember asking you this a couple months ago. I can't remember a player this polarizing coming into the season that was so good at like the end of last year that hadn't played before that. I think you got to steal in the 7th round. I don't think he's going to be like the MVP of the league, but I'll tell you this much: if I'm stacking Tampa, give me some damn Rosarania.
Yeah, he was an absolute joy to watch in the playoffs last year. That was a fun story.
Yeah, it's something that I'll remember from like the quarantine and stuff.
No doubt about it. All right, guys, Dodgers versus Colorado. We are out in Coors Field today. Coors weather, mid-60s in Colorado. So that's not like great, like the ball's going to pop. But as far as like the standard of, April 1st goes, not bad at all.
I just think that Coors gets so much love today. And again, it always gets love, but way too much than it should. Doesn't mean that I'm not aware that it's the best spot on paper and that I could be screwed after the 3rd inning. But you've got a good pitcher in Marquez. It's the first game. I don't expect the Dodgers to come in like gangbusters after winning the World Series. I don't know, man. Like, I get that it's in Coors. Like, I get why people are going there, but I'm like not like this is a definite fade for me.
Okay, so just so everybody understands a little bit, and if you happen to be new to the station, if you've been listening for years, you understand this. You're a big fade Coors fan because it's always over-owned. And again, you're well aware that there are nights that's going to burn you and you're going to end up with contest winnings that says 0. But there's also nights where Coors doesn't blow up and you have an under-owned stack that goes off that you can win your money back tenfold that makes up for nights like that. So it's a strategy that you employ. Now, there are nights that you will understand that Coors is like the place to go. If it was me versus you on the hill, you want the offenses.
Yeah, like that. I want to make that clear because I'm trying to get better with that. Like, there are nights where I'll go to Coors. Some nights, even though Coors will be like the chalkiest offense, it still might be under-owned, in my opinion. I don't think today is that day. You know how much I respect Marquez. We respect Marquez. I think that there are other, like I said earlier, I don't even think that, if you go to San Diego or if you go to Texas or if you go to Tampa Bay, like, one of those in particular is different. Like, any of them is different besides the Dodgers on the slate in my mind.
Yeah, Dodgers come in as the chalkiest offense on the
And
slate. If
I
you're
think
playing cash games, you want some of them.
I think they're the only offense that's going to be like really popular besides San Diego, even.
Yeah, I think it's going to go Dodgers, Padres, and then everybody else.
Agreed. So, I mean, listen, they've got the best offense in baseball. They're in cores. They're coming off a World Series title. You're also going to have a lot of the, novice first-time players coming in, especially at the beginning of the year. They're going to flock to the Dodgers here, and the Dodgers could be good and score 4 or 5 runs, 6 runs, but it's chalk in tournaments. Like, good luck winning a tournament like that.
Yeah, you got to nut everything else. Also, this isn't the end
Yeah.
all be all, but like Marquez has been really good against the Dodgers.
My opinion would be a lot different here if it were any other starter but Marquez. I'm hoping that the Dodgers, dud here, and then I can go right back there tomorrow. Marquez is rarely a guy I want to pick on, and I know he wasn't amazing last year, but a chalky offense against him, no thank you for me.
I know again, you mentioned it, a lot of novice players early in the year, and that's kind of who we're trying to talk to. Like, German Marquez had a 3.75 ERA last year. It's pretty good for a Coors Field pitcher. I mean, he had a lot of games, home games included, against the Dodgers, end of the year on the 5th, 2 runs allowed through 7 innings.
Yeah.
He's shut them down before multiple occasions. Now, he has the occasional bad game. I remember I pitched him against Houston. That was a big mistake. But he's a solid starting pitcher. And, Justin Turner, 2 of 16 off of him. Cody Bellinger, 3 of 24. Seager, 2 of 11. Muncy, 3 of 16. Like, he's had really good experience against everybody but Pollock.
Yeah, and I know a point you'd make too. Like, that doesn't mean I can't use a 1-off or 2-off of the Dodgers if I want to. Like, yeah. I'm not saying like I have to cross them out of my player pool. I'm just not looking to stack them. Especially after what you just brought up. Like, Marquez wasn't even great last year, and his numbers were still decent. So this for me, again, you mentioned it. Like, I'm well aware this could blow up in my face, but I'm not interested in the Dodgers here from a tournament perspective.
No, Turner, Smith, Seager, Betts, Bellinger, these guys are all going to be really, really popular. So take that for what it's worth. I think it makes sense in cash games. I'll have some Dodgers exposure in my one lineup that I also use Tyler Glasnow as more of like a cash type of build, but I will fade away from the Dodgers mainly in the other lineups as well.
Makes sense to me.
As far as the Colorado offense against Clayton Kershaw goes, I'm not that interested. I know Trevor Story is going to be probably the 3rd most likely used shortstop. Like, people are spending up on shortstop today. They're going to use Corey Seager, Fernando Tatis, and Trevor Story. Trevor Story is supposed to be 3rd. I also rank him as 3rd. I'm just really not that interested in the Colorado offense unless they surprise me and play better than I expect this year.
That could happen. I mean, that happens often in sports. It's hard to see them having a great game today. First off, like you mentioned earlier in the week, you got Kershaw, who's probably not going to be given that long of a leash, coming off that long playoff stretch last year. Dodgers have a good bullpen. This is definitely not the spot I'm looking to use any Rockies bats. I might have had some interest in Kershaw as a contrarian option before we talked that out.
Yeah, that's a great point. We brought that up. The Dodgers always have a short leash. Also, the Dodgers don't need regular season wins. You can already put them in the playoffs. So they're not going to push a veteran pitcher like Kershaw in the opening day start, right? Like, I bet you he doesn't throw 85 pitches today. If I had to guess over or under 80, I'd guess under.
I'd guess around 80. So I'm no arguments there.
That's why I said it at 80, because I thought it'd be a real question. Crone is the one guy who's going to get a little attention. Not a bad hitter. Good against lefties, under 4K, probably the starting first baseman there.
Sure.
All right. As far as San Diego against Arizona go, we already mentioned, if you love Yu Darvish, the nice weather here shouldn't talk you off of him. I'm just not likely. I don't like Yu Darvish more than I like, say, a Jack Flaherty or Luis Castillo, Brandon Woodruff, so I'm not going to spend the extra money on him.
I'm probably in the same boat as you. I like Darvish. It sounds like slightly more than you. But I also have this weird feeling, I can't shake it, that Darvish either balls here or gets lit up. I don't know why I think that. It's probably somewhere in the middle, but I can't shake that feeling.
Okay, and if you think he balls, and I'll tell us anyway, again, it's just nice weather. You can pitch nice and nice weather. If they don't hit the ball, it doesn't matter. I just look at it as more of like a tiebreaker situation, and I probably wasn't going to use Darvish anyways. I'd rather use a guy in a cold weather game.
Full disclosure, I probably will not use Darvish. I think he's in play, but there's other guys I like more that are a little bit cheaper. And I will say, there's one bat from Arizona I kind of like. because I know we'll probably just skip them over.
Okay, we'll get to them in a momentarily. And there's a chalk guy that we should bring up there anyways. As far as the San Diego bats, just because I have them pulled up, Tommy Pham's coming in as big chalk. Lefty, 3,100. Decent part of this lineup more than ever. I think he's like a cash game lock for me.
It makes a lot of sense. I'm a big fan.
Yes, you are. And you said that correctly. I like that. That's not an easy thing to say. Try to say it 10 times fast.
Amen.
All right, here's a question for you. Knowing that Seager and Tatis are coming in as both very, very popular, kind of right up there in the top for shortstops. If you had to just play one of them, would you play Tatis or Seager?
Tatis.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just love his upside. Bumgarner was terrible last year. I'm curious to see how he bounces back this year. If he's just a guy who's thrown enough pitches, he doesn't have it anymore. If it was just a bad strike shortened year, because he was really bad last season.
No doubt. I'm real interested in that too. I'm with you. I still don't feel great about picking on him.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to all out just sell my soul on San Diego, but they're a good offense in the best weather game climate as far as that goes. So
I'm really bummed about the Boston-Baltimore game, because a big reason why the Dodgers are going to be so chalky is because if you take the Dodgers and Padres off the slate, there is no one else that jumps out. I will use other teams because that's how I play and I'll like them, but there is no one that jumps out at all.
I understand, and I'm with you. I agree. All right, as far as Arizona goes, you talking about Ketel Marte?
For sure. He's way too cheap here. I mean, he's much better than this. I'm a huge fan. He's coming in with ownership. I think he makes a lot of sense as a filler piece. He's going to be batting at the top of the lineup.
Yeah,
this
guys.
Lineup I think is better than people think.
Another line. Yeah, they were bad last year, but it was a short year. It was a weird year. I can understand why I figured you would expect better out of Arizona this year than they played last season. Makes sense to me. Ketel Marte, again, going to be real popular, guys. I would just lock him into cash games and kind of move on. People are going to want the cap space, and he's a lot better than that price tag.
Definitely. Now, I will say, just because we talk about this all the time, the differences between baseball and basketball, I like Ketel Marte. I'll have exposure. But in tournaments, you do not need to lock in Ketel Marte. I mean, you just don't need to. He's facing one of the best pitchers on the slate. There's every opportunity he gets 0 points, 3 points, and the guy you choose is much better. So just putting that out there.
I agree. They actually, David Peralta's only 2,800 as well. Yeah, there are some cheap guys on here. And I think that's actually an interesting stack, because even though his Darvish was great last year, how many terrible Darvish starts do we have in our career?
It's the old, they got his Drupal Cabrera too now. It's the old, what I just said earlier, I think Darvish could either pitch really well or get blown up. The problem for me with Arizona is there are no expensive pitchers to use, really. If there was a DeGrom and Scherzer, I'd be really looking at that, because they're cheap.
Well, especially since you're using the pitcher against them, but I don't know. Let's just say you love Glasnow and you love Jack Flaherty. Or you go Flaherty, Glasnow. You stack Arizona in the sense that, you probably go with their best hitters. You've got Christian Walker, Ketel Marte. Maybe you want to go with Drupal Cabrera or Escobar right here.
Better. These guys are better than people think.
So let's just say you did a Peralta, Escobar, Marte, Walker stack. Okay, well that's, you're 4 deep. If you want to grab a fifth, go do it. But now you could say go Betts, Corey Seager. Yeah, and that right there would be contrarian enough alone that it's okay to use some chalky Dodgers in that situation. You could still get Bellinger in this lineup too.
Agreed. This is definitely a situation where I'd feel fine using Dodgers in tournaments.
Yeah, so just because you like to fade chalk doesn't mean that you can't have some chalk that exists in your lineup. Glasnow, Dodgers, chalk. But Arizona stack and Flaherty, not chalk. So you can kind of marry the two. And if your secondary Arizona pieces go off, it's okay that you had some popular Dodgers.
Amen.
Or you could throw Tatis and Pham in there.
You don't have to use the Dodgers in that, but they're much more in play for me in that type of stack than they are be just I'm going to use, Glasnow and Keller and stack the Dodgers 1 through 5,
Agreed. All right. Moving along to Kansas City against Texas. We mentioned Brad Keller as I don't know, a guy you could be a little bit interested in. I like Keller today to play well for his price tag. The problem is I don't think I need his price tag, so I'd rather play for the upside of a Flaherty, Woodruff, Castillo.
I agree. This is definitely a debate I'm having. How much I like Keller. You don't really need him. I think he's definitely in play here against the weak Texas lineup. I also think a couple Texas bats are in play as really cheap fillers. My favorite part of this game, though, is going to be the KC offense.
Okay, so they're very affordable. Jorge Soler is another guy coming in with high popularity because of his cheap price tag and his capability of hitting home runs. Like, he's definitely a candidate for 0 every time he goes out there because he's high strikeout, doesn't make a lot of contact. But at 2,800, he's going to be relatively popular today and deservedly so.
Mm-hmm. One thing I will say that sucks is Mondesi's out.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he got placed on the IL yesterday, 2 days ago. It definitely sucks because that takes a contrarian high-priced shortstop I liked out of the mix.
Damn, and I wish I'd paid attention to that before I bet on him last night. That's the problem when you don't do enough preseason research. I'm with you, though. I kind of like the Kansas City offense. It's kind of a more contrarian type of play.
Like, they're contrarian like Arizona, but not facing nearly as good of a pitcher.
Temps in the upper 40s with a light wind. Not a great for hitters, but not as bad as some of the other spots. So it's kind of a neutral spot as far as that goes. You know, you got Carlos Santana is a decent hitter. I mean, he's an improvement off of O'Hearn and McBroom. Hunter Dozier is a solid hitter as well. Again, sucks about no Mondesi, but you got Whit Merrifield, Benintendi, Jorge Soler.
Yeah, it looks like the 3 top guys are outfielders. Well, with Salvador Perez, they also have a good catcher. So they're definitely in play for me. Not going to be the sexiest way to go, but again, I like getting dirty like that on slates like this.
Yeah, just tell yourself this story because I don't think it's a complex story to do. Like Marquez keeps the Dodgers to 3 runs in 7 innings or 6 innings or whatever, and they don't do anything amazing. They score 1 or 2 off the bullpen. They score 5 runs today. Okay, solid day. Doesn't win you tournaments. Let's say Madison Bumgarner has a big bounce back here and just shuts down San Diego. So those 2 popular offenses don't do anything. And KC has a big day versus hittable Kyle Gibson.
For sure. And another point that I'll make that I know you can get on board with, and it's hard to quantify because it just is. But I think that, in baseball, a lot of things, a lot of hitters, teams, pitchers are year to year. Like they're just different from year to year. And when you get to the beginning of a DFS season, you got a lot of people going off preconceived notions, what happened last year. Now, I'm not saying I know what's going to happen because no one knows, but it's important to kind of just keep an open mind about all this stuff and not just say, oh, because this happened last year, this is going to happen this year. Because in baseball, a lot changes.
No doubt about it. Who are the Texas bats that you're slightly interested in? Because I'll just say, I can always be talked into Joey Gallo because he's always a home run waiting to happen.
Gallo and David Dahl. If Dahl's batting 3rd or in the top of the lineup at 2,500 against Keller, I'm interested.
Yeah, he had his ups and downs in Colorado, but he's a talented hitter.
You were a fan in Colorado. Not saying you were a huge fan. But
both games he was healthy. I was a big fan.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not as good of a spot in Coors, but 2,500 against Brad Keller. I mean, you could use Keller and Dahl.
Even a guy like a Rugnan Odor, who I think was just god-awful last year, but still had 10 home runs. He's a guy who could get hit by a pitch, steal second, score a run, and then solo homer later in the day for 23 points at no ownership.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying that they're the most, they're the best offense on the slate, but Texas is another one of these offenses, talked about Arizona, even Kansas City, they're going to get no love, and they're not in the best spot on paper, but if they score 7 runs today and tomorrow we see they hit 3 home runs off Brad Keller, me and you aren't going to be oh my God, it's the craziest thing to ever happen.
Yep. All right, guys. Real quick summary. As far as pitching goes, Glasnow should be your most popular pitcher. Castillo is also getting decent love. We like Flaherty as a guy who's not going to be he's not only 1%, but he might be a little under-owned today. We're a big fan of Hendricks, and then you got Woodruff. So it makes a lot of sense to pound this mid-tier right here between Hendricks and Glasnow, or Hendricks and Castillo.
Yeah, and then if you want to go down, I think Keller's our guy.
Yeah, if you're going to go way down there, I expect Keller to give you 15 points today. I just would rather – I don't need that money, which is why this might make more sense on a different slate.
I also expect him to give 15, but I don't trust it, so which is a big reason why I don't get there.
Well, I mean, Woodruff and Hendricks have higher upside. Hendricks last year, I think, was the best opening day starter. I think he went for 38 points as he just shut out the Brewers.
I'll also be shocked if the Pirates hit 3 home runs off him. I won't be shocked if that happens to Keller.
Oh my God, I would be flabbergasted if they hit 3 home runs off of him. If I had to bet zero or any other number, I'd bet zero.
And like that's how, I struggle to see Pittsburgh like stringing together a lot of hits. Like all Texas, if Keller's a little wild, walks a couple guys, gives up a seeing eye single, and then finds Gallo up with the bases loaded. I mean, that could be it right there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, and then as far as like the popular hitters go, it's Dodgers and San Diego. Dodgers in Colorado, duh. I think this makes sense to everybody. Will Smith, Bellinger, Betts, Seager, all going to be wildly popular. Justin Turner is going to be very, very popular. In cash games, it's probably the smartest way to go. Try to mix in some San Diego Padres if you can, especially Tommy Pham on the Arizona side of things. Ketel Marte is a cheap pay down option that a lot of people are going to be interested in. That pretty much does it for what we're looking at.
Yeah, that does it for me. Hyped to make this video. Excited. I'm glad we did a members only video for everyone. And let's get it today, guys.
All right. Good luck, everybody. We'll talk to you about some basketball in a little bit as well.
Thanks.